Man, I really hate how you feel like you get a groove and then you get sick again. It's the worst feeling in the world, Coach. The worst feeling in the world.
Yeah, I feel you on that, man.
You really think you got a groove going, and then the next thing you know, it's like you go this great stretch, good health, no sickness, no coughs, and you wake up one morning.
Bam!
And you wake up one morning, it's like a train hit you.
Yeah.
Oh God, but how you doing, Coach?
I'm doing fine. Busy day ahead of us both.
Yeah.
Got some things to take care of, but yeah, week in general was pretty solid. Can't complain. Bears win last week, so obviously moods are high going into this weekend, and yeah, nice to be back in the studio. We've been out for 2 weeks now, so it's nice to be back this week, and excited to get this show on the road.
Yeah, it's definitely been a minute since we've been in here. I think we kind of made it a priority to kind of leave the halftime podcast alone. Whenever we can't be in here, there's a certain level of professionalism that we've given this particular platform. But in the midst of that, we were able to reconnect with our Coach's Corner, which we started, a long time ago. We were able to reconnect. So I do want to remind people that the Halftime Podcast Network, and in this presentation, this is the Halftime Podcast, but we also have a subsidiary form of content that we offer called Coach's Corner. And that's something that we were able to do over the last couple of weeks, where we had you and me reconvening and, coming back together. And then a week prior to that, we had a guest, Coach Walker, who has an AAU club out in Bolingbrook. And so we were able to kind of do that over the last 2 weeks, and that was pretty fun, pretty good, and we were able to provide content that way. So yes, we are excited to be back with episode 52 of the Halftime Podcast, but just quickly reminding people that in efforts to continue to make sure that we give you content, Coach's Corner is something that I think we will try to continue to keep doing and things like that. But the Halftime Podcast itself will always look with this great presentation provided by the Audio Hive production team.
Yes,
All right, Coach, you ready to get into our show?
Let's get right into it, man.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's go right into the halftime conversations. Halftime conversations. First on top in the halftime conversations, we're going to talk about, obviously, Week 6. We're going to do a quick NFL recap of Week 6 and those games that were played, if we could get those results. Yeah, so
beautiful.
We had that London game that was such a sore eye to watch. You had the Broncos versus the Jets. The Jets offense literally could do nothing all game, and Justin Fields got sacked over 9 times. I think that game is kind of like an epitome of like what his career has been in the NFL so far. I've seen a lot of chatter about Justin Fields. I saw one thing that was very hilarious. A guy was just like, he's the worst, best quarterback of all time. And I was just like, when you put it in that perspective, I was just like, I get what you're saying. Because they're like, when you look at him statistically, there's nothing that you can say about him that goes like, well, his numbers just seem so crazy outside of his win-loss record. His win-loss record is the only thing that's such an eyesore. When you look at over the last few years of his interceptions to touchdown ratio, has been pretty good. Completion percentage has steadily improved. Pass per yards per game, obviously not out of the roof. But everything else pretty much has been on par with being somewhat of a quarterback that can move. But it seems like right now, for some odd reason, he can't catch a break with the organizations that he goes to, whether it's Chicago, Pittsburgh. He caught a little bit of a break, but they didn't keep him. And now he's with the Jets, and it looks like they have a lot of work to do. But this could be what it's supposed to be. The same way with Detroit and how Dan Campbell first got there. Maybe this is the same thing with Aaron Glenn. But I just wanted to quickly say that because I saw a lot of chatter about that game and that going on. But what's your thoughts really quickly about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of another just the Broncos won, but it was also just a disappointing game for them because in no way should the score have been that. They played a very bad brand of football on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, defense showed up to play, but everybody shows up to play against the Jets. So that's nothing new. But those are the type of games where when you are kind of in the dog days and offense just can't find any success. You have to lean on something, and they leaned on the defense and somewhat of the offense that they were able to create, and it was enough to pull out a win. So I'm sure they're moving into Week 7 looking to bounce back from and put on a good offensive performance.
Yeah, I think they're gonna figure it out. I think they're gonna end this season with at least about 4 to 5 wins, which, to be honest with you, I think that's all the Jets can really ask for with everything that they're going on. But we'll see what happens with with that team for the rest of this year. They got a lot more games to play. You can go on a run and things can get spirited. But throughout the course of Week 6, the rest of these games, none of them. I think the only big surprise to me was just the fact that the Panthers beat the Dallas Cowboys, which I did not see coming. That was something that was unexpected for me.
Dave Canales has those boys playing decent over there, well, man. I'm not going to lie.
They're actually thinking that Bryce Young could actually be a franchise quarterback now with the way that things have been going around. So, hey, I mean, if you can change Bryce Young and turn him into something that people are now no longer upset about, giving, the Bears all of that equity and what you got for getting Bryce Young, then I guess that's a job well done on that front. I mean, outside of that, all the other games are kind of standard.
Well, there's one game that
Kansas City with Detroit, that was kind of a BTA moment, but I mean, I wasn't necessarily surprised Kansas City was at home, so I kind of thought that they would win. Would they win that big? Not necessarily, but I knew that they were going to win that game.
Yeah, I mean, I remember us talking about it, the week when we were making our predictions for this game.
Yeah. On Coach's Corner.
On Coach's Corner. Yeah, we were both talking about, I mean, just playing at Arrowhead is hard enough as it is.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs have had a really rough start, a really rocky road this whole season, but, I think this is a huge game for them to win. And winning in that type of fashion against that type of team boosts a whole bunch of morale. And, just this game alone has now in the sports books, Patrick Mahomes is favored to win MVP now, and the Chiefs are the favorites to win the Super Bowl. So, just like that, by 1 week and that type of win, it gets flipped like that, man.
How quickly your luck can change.
Yeah.
But let's continue to move on. There was no more surprises from Week 6, so let's kind of get into this Bears game. The Bears squeezed out a victory against the Washington Commanders. They started the game going 13-0. Obviously, within that first 15-play creation, like we always talk about how when you first start off the game, the first 15 plays are kind of already crafted, curated, some of the things that you worked on through the course of the week. And to be honest with you, I think a big part of what's saving the Bears is the fact that we do start off so well.
Mm-hmm.
We start off so well.
I feel like we haven't been able to say in
in quite some time. We've obviously last season we were what you would consider to be the late.
It was quite the opposite.
Yeah, it was the late blooming situation.
Mm-hmm.
But we start games off so well that it gives us a competitive advantage to finish out games and give us a chance to win. Now, if we talk about towards the latter part of the game, we start to drop off offensively. We don't start to be as potent. The ball isn't getting down the field as swift and as quickly and as efficient as it was in the first half. If you look at Caleb's numbers in just about every single game, he starts off on fire, and then progressively as the game goes, I won't say he gets worse, but he just becomes less proficient.
Sure.
Because worse wouldn't be necessarily what I want to say. It's just he gets less proficient. It becomes less as electric, less as dynamic as it was in comparison to the first half and the first quarter. But I mean, walking out of this game, I didn't necessarily feel like we won. I just feel like we got our get back. Obviously, from the way that we lost to Washington last season with the Hail Mary play, it was beautiful for them to make a mistake, get that fumble, and us to be able to win it on a field goal kick to win by 1 point. So that was beautiful, right? That's a great way to get back. But I look at this game and I go, we were up 13-0. Then the Commanders went on a 17-0 run to go up 17-13. Then obviously it was a little bit of back and forth, a touchdown here, a couple field goals here, and then eventually us winning it on a field goal. I look at that and I go, the game was pretty much in the Commanders' hand to win. If they didn't necessarily fumble this game, we're having a whole different conversation. If they didn't fumble within the last, I think, 2 minutes of that game, we're having a totally different conversation coming in today about how we started the game off fast, we started the game off quick, we went up 13-0, and then our defense pretty much just let the Commanders go on a roll. Like, the whole narrative of this goes differently if that one situation doesn't happen, and that doesn't necessarily take away from the win at all, because football is a game of errors. Football is a game that's played within the margins, within the trenches, and so that's part of the game, right? Securing the football is probably the biggest part of how you play this game. So I'm not taking the win away from them, but it's just that outside of that Dallas game, which we also predicted was going to be a huge game because their pass defense is probably the worst in the NFL. Outside of that game, I still haven't felt like we've just like grab hold of the reins and really just stamped that we're like here, that this is a team that's a good team and not a team that has to just kind of hope that we can figure things out and hope for some mistakes. Now, I will say that because we are the league's best in takeaways on defense, 2.5 per game, that gives us a chance every single game to win. I guess my question is just that for you, how long does that last?
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw it, really throughout the latter stage of that game. And you texted me in that first half. You're like, Coach, like this D-line's playing great. I'm like, just give it a sec. They're going to get tired. They're going to lose some steam. I think they were just running off of pure adrenaline, just a lot of excitement going into that game. It's a Monday night game.
And they wanted that get back.
Yeah, and then, I mean, we saw in the second half, Jaden and that whole Commanders offense just really, went to the next level.
Yeah.
And we saw Washington play how they're capable of playing, right? Running the football, playing very complimentary football, and that's what they were able to do. I think there's still some big questions on the D-line. I think they played definitely a better game. I think maybe one of their better games this whole season. I feel like they got to Jaden a lot. Obviously, it didn't necessarily result in sacks, although a couple of them were taken away for obvious, reasons, roughing the passer, stuff like that. But a lot more pressure was generated, and I think that is something that I haven't seen all season. Is I was actually able to generate pressure, right? Make Jaden get out of the pocket and, try to create from his feet, which we know he's very dynamic in doing so, but we also know how dangerous he is if he could just stand in the pocket and deliver throw after throw after throw. So D-line, I'm still expecting more and more and more. I think the secondary has played pretty solid. I think, obviously, granted, we just got Kyler Gordon back last week, so he needs to still get his legs up under him and kind of get going. But, Jalen Johnson is still out. He'll still be out for quite some time. And it's like you're missing your Pro Bowl cornerback, and Tyreek Stevenson, he got burned on one play, right? That resulted in that touchdown. But other than that, I feel like in run defense and on a lot of the pass coverages, he's really stepped it up this year. And I think this Washington game was a big game for him. So it's refreshing to see. I'm giving a lot of the credit to Dennis Allen as well. I feel like the way that he's had to scheme up pressure is something kind of just it's a tough task. It's a very tough task because we see that even when there's one-on-one opportunities for Montez Sweat or Dio to go and get to the quarterback, they're not able to do it. They're always getting held up by the tackles. So he has to blitz constantly, or send some stunts in, and that's how they were getting pressured last week. So maybe we'll see some more of that against New Orleans. Maybe we'll see the DN step up, but I don't know. It was solid to see the defense kind of continue their takeaway, prowess, I guess. We've seen that in years past, right? Especially the 2018 Bears, which we like to talk back on a lot because that was the best Bears team we've seen in quite some time.
Yeah.
What were they able to do? Get takeaways, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge thing, and DA is doing that over here in Chicago as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But what are your thoughts on the offense?
The offense, I think the offensive line played probably their best game this whole season. Besides Dallas,
outside of I was gonna say Dallas,
but Dallas, I don't even look at that game anymore because we see what type of defense Dallas is. It's Matt Eberflus. Regardless, this is definitely their second best game in which the offensive line has played. No false starts the entire game. The only infraction we had was illegal formation on Theo Benedette, which was BS because he was at least on the center's butt when you actually look at the replay, which took away a Rome Odunze touchdown. So that is a whole different conversation that we could get into. I thought the officiating was porous, but regardless, I think I'm with you on the fact that this team looks really good in their first 15. But then once it starts getting into, making adjustments and stuff like that, that's where we start to drop off. But one thing that didn't drop off was the run game. DeAndre Swift played his best game as a Chicago Bear.
Yeah.
And I think that's what won us the football game.
Yeah, of course. He was the player of the game, obviously. That was a given. But it's just more so like, I don't know if we're going to get that DeAndre Swift every week in and week out. I don't even know if our run game is going to look like that week in and week out, and that's also another thing that concerns me. Now, I do like the fact that Benedette is now the left tackle. He obviously looks like that's the good choice to make. I still have concerns about Darnell Wright at right tackle, but he played pretty good against Washington. He did a lot of things that was very commendable, but it's just something about him that just makes me feel like when going against the elite of the elite, he won't be able to handle that. Like, something about me just, I'm not.
I don't know. I beg to differ. I've seen him play pretty well.
I don't know. It's something missing from him. It's something that I'm not seeing. It's something that doesn't give me that confidence. But time will tell. I mean, we haven't really played. I think the most elite.
Well, we played Max Crosby, right?
Yeah, that's about the most elite pass rusher we've gone against so far. Is Max.
But of course, that game Darnell Wright was out.
Yeah, so. He was out. So I think we haven't really played against anybody that's too elite. So I can't really put my thumb and say, that's the identifiable moment for why I feel the way that I feel. But I just have this gut instinct on him. I haven't really been high on him since we drafted him. I thought he was pretty good his rookie season, but since then it hasn't necessarily been what I thought he was going to be at the right tackle position. But lo and behold, nevertheless, the offensive line is much better. But again, like, my only concerns is I don't know how consistent this run game is going to be. That first 15 of plays, we look excellent, but after that, it starts to look like we're going to have trouble scoring. And I know we are one of the only teams that scored 21 points in every single game, and that isn't a phenomenal feat in comparison to how our offense has been over the past couple of seasons. But again, those things are due to the fact that they're constantly being put in better scoring positions due to the takeaways and things like that. So some of that is not necessarily the offense just, getting down the field and doing this thing. Some of that is obviously due to the defense and their ability to get takeaways and put us in scoring position. But at the end of the day, we still have one of the better red zone offenses in the NFL as well. So something is to be said that a lot of times when we do get in the red zone, we do score.
And I think that's a huge thing. Like, just being able to, like, just watching these past, 5 games now that we've played. I think you see the Ben Johnson effect on this, on this offense.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
guys are open, like, actually open. And this is the conversation we were having last season. I'm like, how is it when we're playing teams, they're scheming guys to get wide open, but we can't get open for crap.
Yeah.
Coaching. And that was my whole point. Ben Johnson comes in, we got Rome Odunze wide open, we got DJ open. Zacchaeus was open on a lot of throws, and 2 of them Caleb missed, right, because he anticipated him to keep going, but Zacchaeus did the right thing and sat down in the zone. Again, another thing Caleb has to work on.
But I will say we also have more time. Like
that as well.
Caleb actually has a lot more time in the pocket this season. Game by game, I'll say game by game.
But again,
marginally, he has more time in the pocket to be able to allow certain things to happen. I'm not arguing that Shane Waldron is better than Ben Johnson. So please don't take it that way.
I'm not even taking it that way. But again, it's like I feel like if we're just look back on last season just really quickly, like with Shane Waldron, it's like your offensive line doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
Why are we running so many deep route concepts? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, get some quick game in there. So
absolutely.
It's refreshing to see this type of football being played.
All right, let's move on. But before we move on, I want to remind everybody to please subscribe and like our YouTube channel at the Halftime Pod. We see that you guys are really liking our YouTube short videos and commenting, and obviously me and Coach are able to at times go within the chat rooms and communities and kind of comment and talk back with you guys. So we really appreciate that. But please make sure you press that subscribe button. Make sure you're liking and commenting and sharing our content with those that you find as friends, family, and anybody else that you think you would want to share our content with. And if you think we're dope and you think what we're doing is something that you enjoy and you think others would enjoy, as well as also following both me and Coach individually on our Instagram pages. You can follow Coach Conrad at Coach KDZ, and you can follow me, Coach Malcolm, at Coach M_got it. If you have time to chat with us about certain takes that you've seen that you feel like we were on the mark on, or if we were just completely off the rails with, or if you just want to talk to us about your kids and wanting to get them in AAU programs that Coach Conrad sponsors, or if you want skill development and training that both me and him can provide. So again, you can follow Coach Conrad at Coach KDZ, and you can follow me, Coach Malcolm, at Coach M_got it. All right, and last but not least, we want to remind everybody that we do have merchandise out. Merch is for sale. We have a lot of discount codes that you can use. You can use halftime free if you spend over $100, and you can get shipping off as well as 10% off. You can use halftime 15 for anything over $70 spent. You get 15% off, and then you can use halftime code 5. For 5% off any purchase right now. So yeah, if you are looking for any merchandise from the Halftime Podcast, you can go to our Instagram page and you can click the link in our bio, and it'll take you right to all of the things we have, from our streaming on DSPs to our YouTube page, as well as our merchandise shopping online digital outlet. All right. That covers everything, Coach?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, I feel like a nice little advertiser
right
here, a little radio broadcaster right now. All right, Coach, let's move into it. Let's pivot, though. Let's talk about the Chicago Bulls, but specifically, let's talk about one guy in particular. All right, Coach, the big question, can our homegrown talent of Modest Buzelis, can he be a NBA superstar? That's really it. Because it seems like the way that this preseason has been going and the way that they have been marketing this team, we will go as Modest goes. And from what I've seen in preseason, there are some things that I like. There are some things that still need to be worked upon. And there are some things that I think Billy Donovan isn't necessarily doing to help put him into an advantageous situation. So first and foremost, the things that I like: he's still being able to attack the rim. He's still getting in transition and getting himself into easy opportunities to score. Defensively, he is able to help on the weak side a lot. He has his IQ and his antennas up when he's playing help defense, so that is great. Things that I do not like: his three-point shot is still spotty and consistent at times. Even when he's wide open, I've seen him airball threes consistently time and time again. Now, he's knocked some down, but it's not as consistent as you would like it to be, especially when you're going against teams who will play the law of averages against you when the regular season comes, and they will just kind of force you to show and prove that you can make that three over and over and over again, because we know that Modest wants to get to the cup. But if teams are playing you for the drive, they're going to let you shoot and take that away from you, especially when you're playing against teams that can scheme properly defensively and you're going against the regular starters. Another thing that is really disheartening is that he cannot stay in front of anybody on defense. Man to man, he is barbecue chicken. He is somebody that you can get past really quickly, especially if you got good foot speed. And that is troublesome only depending on if he can recover. Now, if he recovers every single time and is able to get that block from behind, then who cares? He makes up for it with giving you the fear factor of that. Even if you get past him, he's still right there to catch you with his length and his speed to recover. But if he cannot recover every single time, then there's going to be a problem with him on that perimeter trying to guard people. Now, what I do not like is that I do not like him at the stretch four. Do not enjoy it at all. I'm not a fan of it. I've seen enough of it in preseason, him in that position. But what I do like is him at the three.
Okay.
I do really like him at the three. I think it gives him an opportunity to explore the perimeter a little bit more, work on his game, get him in isolation opportunities, allow him to go one-on-one and take guys off the dribble, especially offensively. And I think defensively it allows him to be in situations where if you want to do the 1-3 switch or the 1-3 pick and roll, which is not what most teams do on a consistent basis, then it will at least eliminate him from having to be in those pick and roll situations all the time. And that way it'll allow him to be more so of that help side defender, which he is absolutely great at, instead of always being in those actions where he has to take on the gauntlet of keeping a guy in front of him. So I like him at the three. agree. The last game we played against Minnesota, obviously he played the small forward position, and they brought in Jalen Smith, which was something that I talked about on our halftime short, which is something that I've been doing, which is me just, and you, when you get a chance, where you just take a quick little snippet of whatever you're talking about somewhere, and then we just upload that to our page. But I talked about how I wanted to see Jalen at the power forward position with Vucevic and Buzelis at the small forward position. Billy Donovan is saying that is something that will be utilized only case-by-case basis, depending on who we're playing against. But I honestly think that that's the best way to go about it. Giddey, Kobe, Buzelis, Jalen, Vucevic, and that's your starting lineup. And now you don't have to question who should be your starting small forward, because it shouldn't be Isaac Okoro or anything like that. So with that, all that being said, my couple questions to you is, what did you like? What did you dislike? Can he be a star? And should Billy Donovan permanently consider him being a small forward instead of having him play this stretch four?
Yeah, I mean, things I like about him. I mean, I was really high on him, coming out of high school.
Right.
I honestly wish he went the college route, because I think that Ignite team failed him.
In his development a little bit, yeah.
And that Ignite team, I mean, obviously doesn't exist anymore.
No.
For a reason, right? I think in the case of Modest, Buzelis kind of stunted his development a little bit. I feel like he'd be way further along in where his skill set is if
kind of Cooper Flaggish.
Yeah, if he went to college, which I mean, those were two guys that were competing for that top spot. The entirety of their careers.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're only 1 year apart, so they've consistently gone against each other, whether it's in circuits, whether it's in like invitational training camps, stuff like that. So, I mean, at one point before Modest even hit that Ignite team, he was considered to be, the best player coming up in that draft. So, I mean,
he was projected a top 3 pick easily.
Yeah, that as well. So, I mean, in the case of, does he have the talent to become a star? No doubt in my mind, I think this kid could become a star, but I think it really does depend on. It's a matter of when for me. Is he going to do it in Chicago? That I'm not sure of, because I don't know if I'm a believer in Billy Donovan getting him right and playing him in the right positions. I think Billy is going to be really honed in on trying to play him at the stretch four, because I mean, if you think about it, practically it kind of makes sense to do so. He's tall, he's lengthy, although he isn't bulky, right, to play that 4 position, but you're not expecting that out of a stretch 4. But
I mean, again, you are a little bit,
right?
Yeah.
But again, I mean, the jump shot just isn't consistent enough to be able to put him at that stretch 4. I like him way better at the 3. I know you said the same.
Yeah.
I really hope that lineup with Jalen Smith starting at the 4 is the lineup we go with to start this season, but I just know it's not. I feel like Billy's going to find a way to put Isaac Okoro in there at the 3 and then put Modest at the 4. I think that's going to be the reason why, if that lineup starts, that will be the reason why this Bulls team loses a lot of their early games.
Absolutely.
And, we're talking about it now. They start next week. Wednesday is the regular season opener.
Yeah.
So, against Detroit. So,
for us, the season, well, we'll talk about that, but our first game is, you're right, October 20th.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's exciting, but, man, it's right around the corner. And I don't like that I don't know what Billy Donovan's going to do. I feel like that just shouldn't be something you're thinking about going into the season. Like, I feel like all the good teams, all the successful teams, you essentially know what their lineup looks like.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions about Cleveland's lineup? Absolutely not.
No, you know what they're going to be, you know what they're going to bring, and that's why I think Jalen Smith works perfectly at the 4, because he is a better 3-point shooter than Modest. He's a better 3-point shooter than Vucevic. He's a better 3-point shooter than Zach Collins. So he perfectly operates as a stretch 4 who can also help you on the help side, defensive side of things.
And
rotate.
He's a solid rebounder.
He's a solid rebounder. So like he perfectly fits that. And so when you're telling me that Isaac Okoro is still going to be somebody that you're considering at the small 4 with Modest at the stretch 4, that just means to me that either you're not seeing things properly as a coach or you just have a job to do. Like, you're being told that this is what is to be seen. That we didn't trade Lonzo for Isaac Okoro not to be an integral part of this. And Okoro could still be an integral part, but at the end of the day, you have to do what makes sense. And this team has been searching for the proper power forward for years now. And Jalen Smith fits that bill. I'm not saying he has to go out there and be a workhorse. I'm not saying he has to go out there and average 17 points per game, but he can be exactly what we had in Taj Gibson years ago. Defensive, able to stretch the floor, knock down the 3-point shot from time to time, rebound, and help in rotation, right? Because now with that front court of Modest, Jalen, and Vucevic, first of all, you got a lot of guys that can pick and pop, a lot of guys that can shoot from the outside, and a lot of guys that you can switch across that front court to guard any of the big men that you see. So I think that is really the most powerful thing that we actually have this time around with this roster, is that our front court isn't so weak and fragile and so little. My thing about it, though, getting back to Modest, is I just don't know if he can be a star in the NBA in general.
Okay.
So the way that I'm saying they're billing this season, they're billing it as if Modest is going to take, I'm watching the marketing behind things, and the way that they're billing it is like Modest is about to take this massive sophomore leap. And I'm seeing them work around it and showcase him a little bit more in preseason, which is why I want him at the small forward position, because if you're going to do it, then give it to him.
Yeah.
Give him the full opportunity to be that guy. Don't slow roast it. There's no need. There's no need to crockpot this situation with Modest. Put him right on the pan, hot, sizzling skillet, and let him see if he can cook.
Absolutely.
Put him right out there. And so I just don't know if that's necessarily what he's going to become in the NBA. I don't know if he's going to become that type of superstar type of player, because he's yet to show me his greatest identifiable characteristic of what will make him great. Transition play might be his best attribute, but that's due to the fact that he's young right now and he's long and lengthy. When he gets out of that athleticism phase of his career, I can't figure out the identifiable thing. And he's young, so I got to give him time. But as of right now, I can't figure out the identifiable thing that's going to make him a great player. And so that's what's concerning me about the fact that we're kind of putting so much in the Modest basket so soon, so early. But I guess you have to, right? This is a kid that you drafted that was projected to be top 3. You've moved veteran players from out of his way to ensure that, he didn't necessarily have to worry about sharing. Really, the only person standing in his way right now, and I want to say standing in his way, but the only person that would be in his way is Kobe White. And we all know how we've talked about Kobe and what we think of Kobe and how we think this could potentially be the last season with Kobe on the Chicago Bulls. But that's not the topic of conversation today, but we'll have that. But do you think Modest can actually be a superstar in the NBA?
No, superstar I think is a different term than star. Like superstar, I view that as a guy that's
he could be the star of the Bulls, but that don't mean nothing.
Right, but I mean also a star in the league. Like I view a star in the NBA different than I view a superstar.
Okay, so do you think he can be a star? Do you see him being able to get, do you see him being able to get at least 5 All-Star selections?
5 Yeah, I do see him getting 5 All-Star selections. Okay. Do I think he's going to make an All-NBA team? No, I don't think he's going to make an All-NBA team, but I think he's going to make a couple of All-Star teams. Yeah, I think maybe he'll get, at some point, I think if he can improve his on-ball defense, I think he'll definitely be in the conversation for making a all-defense team at some point, because we know what he could do off the help side. He's able to get chase down blocks. He's able to, rotate into the help and block people and really protect the rim at certain points. I think if he improves his on-ball defense, it definitely can make an all NBA defensive team for sure. Okay. But all NBA, third, second, first team, I don't think so. Just because the influx of talent that has now risen in this league, Halliburton's going to be around for a while. Shea's around for a while. We got so many guys now that we see this new era of the NBA. We're kind of phasing out the old era of KD, Steph, Curry, LeBron, all those guys. They're on their last.
Harden, Kawhi.
They're on their last legs, and we've got this new
group,
this new talent.
blossoming. Yeah,
and it's exciting to see. But I don't think Modest fits into that group. I think he fits into that kind of, consistent all-star group at some point. But again, I don't know if he does it in Chicago, though. That's my thing. Like, I don't know if we could develop him here with Billy Donovan as head coach.
Okay. All right. Well, let's stay in the NBA, but let's have a little bit of fun. Now, we've talked about this a few times, and I guess we really need to address it because at the beginning of the season, obviously Arturis and Mark Eversley and a lot of the press conferences prior to training camp media availability, there was a lot of chatter about contracts getting Giddey signed and how the Bulls perceive themselves going forward as far as being able to be competitive and things of that nature. Now, the 2027 NBA free agency class is expected to be loaded, right? You got Jokic, you got Steph, you got Kawhi, you got Anthony Davis, you got Donovan Mitchell, you got Giannis, you got Zach LaVine, you got so many players that are anticipated to be available for opportunities elsewhere in 2027. Now, granted, a lot of these players could get extensions next season. A lot of these players could just re-sign with their home team. Some of them could just retire. Like Steph could just,
I wouldn't be.
You know what I'm saying? Steph could just ride it out and just end his last year or two, whatever, with Golden State and leave. But my point is, if you're looking at teams around the league that have been, I guess, positioning themselves financially for an opportunity in 2027, like Miami, for instance, and why they have been hesitant in making big moves and signing, crazy contracts. Even OKC, even though now, because of the fact that they won a championship, they eventually have to start dishing that money out. But they still have players and room and picks and things like that they could unload if it doesn't look like OKC can keep competing at the level that they want to compete at. My question is, how much of this 2027 NBA free agency class is going to shift the power dynamics of the NBA currently when that offseason comes around? And secondly, do you think the Bulls will actually be in on being able to get anything out of that 2027? So it's two. How much will it shape up the different power dynamics in the NBA, and do you think the Bulls have a chance?
Yeah, I think that 2027 offseason will definitely change a lot as far as the landscape of the NBA and kind of the trajectory. I definitely see Giannis going somewhere. I mean, he's been a topic of conversation for the last 2 seasons now, him wanting out of Milwaukee.
You don't think that'll happen before the 2027 free agency?
See, that's my thing. Like, I don't know if it would. Maybe it would. But if I'm a team, I'd just wait so I could pay him money.
Instead of giving up assets for him?
Yeah, so I would just wait for that. 'Cause he wants to leave anyways, right? I mean, yeah, he's kind of been like, yeah, well, I love Milwaukee, all this stuff. No, you don't. No one loves Milwaukee. Who goes to Milwaukee, right?
Like
for
Cleveland.
Vacation. Yeah, like Cleveland.
It's like Cleveland.
Although Milwaukee's a little bit better than Cleveland. I'll give it that much.
Of course.
Who goes to Cleveland? Seriously. But Giannis is definitely a guy. I think Jokic is another guy that I think could definitely be on the move. I just don't necessarily see a vision with Denver. I feel like they're at a very standstill of the talent that they have. Yes, they made the Cam Johnson trade, and Michael Porter Jr. is out of there, but it's essentially that same group of guys. They just lost Russ, which I think is stupid that they didn't bring him back. I thought he was great for them, but different conversation for a different day. But I don't think Jokic necessarily sees a vision of and kind of a path to success that Denver's trying to present. It's not a clear one at all, and I know Jokic would rather have some clarity in that. He doesn't want to worry about that. He'd rather worry about his horses back in Europe and that type of stuff. But no, I definitely see Jokic being on the move. Where he would go, no idea, right? I don't know what teams are going to be able to pay for him. He's going to be commanding an absolutely insane contract for sure. Thirdly, I think based on how this year goes, I could definitely see Donovan Mitchell being on the move as well. I think he's kind of definitely stepped into that, leading scorer role for Cleveland, but I don't think that's where he's like.
He don't want to be there.
No, he don't want to be Cleveland, right?
No, he doesn't want to be
Cleveland. So
he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, like granted, it is a solid roster they have around him, and They're a good regular season team, but again, I think if they have a similar playoff like they did last season, there's no reason to stay. I mean, that's what Donovan Mitchell's been chasing his whole career is to win, right? I mean, in Utah, he made it, pretty decently far in those playoffs with Rudy Gobert, and they lost. That's why he came to Cleveland to go team up with these guys so that he could win something. But right now, it hasn't resulted into much. So definitely going to be interesting. To answer your second question, the Bulls, I think we're definitely going to push to get some of these guys. I think we're definitely going to push to get Giannis and Jokic. Will we get either of the two? No. I don't think Chicago has shown, maybe not the whole city of Chicago, because we've seen, teams like the Cubs, teams like the Blackhawks, teams like even the Bears, like be able to land kind of some bigger names, right, in more recent years. The Bulls ain't that, right? Like the Bulls were last relevant when Derrick Rose was on this team.
Yes.
And I think everybody's kind of still has a bad taste in their mouth on how the Bulls even handled that whole situation, trading him when they did, and even trading him in the first place.
Yes.
That it's like, well, I mean, if you're going to do this to your hometown kid, what the heck are you going to do with me after you pay me all this money? We just saw what you did with Zach LaVine.
We saw what they did with Michael Jordan.
Yeah, we saw what you guys did with MJ. I mean, you guys can't keep talent in your building, and why would I even consider coming to that city, to this franchise? Yeah, the city's awesome. Chicago is a great city in what it is, but at the end of the day, they're there to win championships, and there is no type of vision whatsoever in the near future for guys to come here and win championships. So if I'm Giannis or Jokic, I'm looking at this team and I'm really questioning, like, if I come to this team, yeah, maybe some players on the roster absolutely would fit great around me, but does this coach fit great around me? Does this front office actually going to give me guys that I know
can help build upon trying to win?
Exactly,
and, stuff like
and
that,
not just win like 1 year. Like,
and will they pay?
Multiple.
And will they pay what it costs to win?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of even our 2027 hopes and dreams, I think that really depends on how this season goes.
Yeah. I think, who could take the next step?
We have to show that there is progress being made in our young players. We also have to show that there's progress being made in our front office to make smart decisions to set us up for a possible 2027 free agency look. Because keep in mind, in order for us to have the money to pay the type of players that are going to be available in 2027, that means we will have to make decisions of not paying Kobe, of not paying Ayo, figuring out how to move on from Vucevic and Patrick Williams. Those will be the 4 key parts to make sure that we have that type of cap space for those type of players in 2027. If the Bulls foolishly, in my opinion, make the decisions to pay Kobe, to keep Patrick Williams around, to yet again not be able to trade Vucevic and let him walk. If you are a player, you're looking at that and saying that this front office still doesn't know how to get it done. Not to mention the fact that you have to come. And I think that's why this whole, not saying that it's just PR, but I think a good part of why the whole Derrick Rose situation is happening right now is to try to repair some of that imaging. Because everybody loves D Rose, right? So if you need some form of player advocation to say that things have changed in the Chicago culture in the Bulls front office, it ain't gonna come from Michael Jordan. Your best bet is for Derrick Rose to be a quiet ambassador to say, like, things were what they were before, but they've turned things around.
Which honestly, I've heard a little bit of that because I mean, Modest has, they put out a whole story that, Modest is reaching out to Derrick Rose about, how is he making the jump from year 1 to year 2,
right,
and building upon that. So I mean,
back
to your point,
yeah. So it would take somebody like Derrick Rose to have to advocate and to say that the things of the Bulls' past are no longer in their present and shouldn't be a part of their future. The way that they used to conduct business, the way that they used to treat players, the way that they used to do things is not the same. It would have to take Derrick Rose being forward about, like, come here because it's different now. Other than that, you're going to have a hard time selling people, like you said, on if you're a superstar coming here based upon how they've done MJ, based upon how they did D Rose, based upon how people watched in real time. You sign a guy to a max contract, and not before the ink could get dry, you're trying to trade him. Nothing about this franchise tells you that they will do right by you, that they will consider your thoughts and opinions as a superstar, and that they will pay for the right type of pieces to get other people around. So it's like, when you're going through that as a superstar, a part of it is, even if the Bulls make the money and make the cap space available, is there anybody that's still going to want to come here? And I think that's why this season is such a big season. One, we have to show progress as a team. The young guys have to show that they have improved and gotten better based upon the young guys that we think will still be on this roster when you insert superstar X and superstar Y. And on top of that, you would have to know and see from the front office standpoint that they have gotten better at being able to make sound decisions about contracts and player personnel. If all three of those things are not shown and displayed this season, you can kiss 2027 goodbye.
Absolutely.
You can kiss it goodbye. And potentially the biggest winner of 2027 might end up being the Miami Heat.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Like everything that the Bulls should have been able to do and capitalize on based upon their market will end up being what the Miami Heat do.
It just seems like that's been the story ever since Jordan left. It's like Miami is just one step ahead of Chicago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All the time. And clearly, in case in point, we have not been able to get past them in the play-in games for the past 2 to 3 seasons.
And when Derrick Rose was on the team, that was the team that we lost to in that playoff.
All the time.
Yeah.
Because of LeBron and D-Wade teaming up. But let's continue to stay in the NBA. But let's finally talk about the season that is coming, the regular season that is coming, this 2025-2026 regular season that starts next week on the 21st. The first couple of games, we got Houston and OKC at 7:30. And then we have, I believe, Golden State and the Lakers on that second game.
I believe so.
And then we also have the following day, which is the day the Bulls actually start. We got Cleveland versus the Knicks on ESPN versus Dallas and San Antonio, which should be a good game. Obviously, Wemby and Cooper Flag being the young ones for that. And then we end the week going towards the end with OKC and Indiana finals rematch. Denver versus Golden State, which could potentially be a Western Conference Finals preview. And then to end the week off, well, I won't say end the week off, but end the regular week off, you got Friday with Boston versus New York, which may or may not end up being a great game at all, depending on how Boston really looks against a New York team that's full, healthy, and ready to go and ready to play with their starters. And then Minnesota and the LA Lakers on Friday. So,
which we always know that's always a...
Yeah, it's a giver. It's a hit or miss.
Yeah.
It can either be a really good game or a really bad one. But with that being said, how excited are you about the NBA regular season coming back? Are there any teams that you already feel like are your dark horses? Do you think that there are some teams that look like they are automatically going to be running away in their conferences? Just give it all to me. How is it looking to you?
Yeah, I think day one, that first game, I think Houston's being OKC. Ring ceremony night. KD coming back to town. He's going to come to be the bad guy again, and he's going to win that game in OKC on the ring ceremony night. I think Houston's going to be a solid team this year. I think if Kevin Durant can stay healthy, which, honestly, I believe he will. I don't know. Something tells me that...
Still concerned about their point guard situation.
That as well, right? But I think they've got some decent... I think they have some adjustments they can make. Of course, coaching staff over there is more than capable of making that situation work. So,
absolutely.
I'm excited to see what they can do this year. In regards to my dark horse, I mean, I've got one team and one team only. I think the Detroit Pistons are my dark horse, absolutely. I think they can make some real noise if Cade takes another step.
Yeah.
I think if Jalen Duren could be more and more consistent in what he does on a nightly basis, I think that team is scary. They made some decent additions to kind of fill in their role players. Mm-hmm. I believe they just got Duncan Robinson this offseason as well, right? So, I mean, they've added shooting. We know what they have on the defensive side of the ball and rebounding. So, and you got a great scorer in Cade Cunningham, man. So I think that's another young team up and coming here that I think they could make a solid push this regular season, give themselves a good spot in the NBA playoff to actually make some noise in there. Kind of similar to what Indiana did 2 years ago.
Yes.
Not necessarily last year, but 2 years ago.
Yes.
I think Detroit might have a similar chance of doing that this year. Who will be the biggest letdown? I think that's another solid one to put out there. I feel like it's such a generic answer, but I think the Lakers are going to be such a letdown.
I don't
know. I just don't. I don't see it. I think
the Clippers are going to break up the band. I think they're going to be the biggest letdown.
Okay, yeah. You know what? They did just make a decent amount of moves this offseason as well, right?
Yep. And, I think they are going to be the biggest letdown, and they're going to break up the band.
Okay.
They're going to break it up. They're going to break up the band with all of the Kawhi turmoil, with the fact that they just recently put out an article saying that James Harden doesn't look like he's in great shape yet again. I think they're going to break up the band over there with the Clippers. So I think that's something that's going to happen. My dark horse in the East, I agree with you, is Detroit as well. My dark horse in the West, though, is the Pelicans. I think when DeJounte Murray is able to get back on the floor with Jeremiah Fears and Zion Williamson and that team, I think they're going to be a nice team to watch and a scary team to go up against due to all of the different dynamics from every position that is offered. So I'm very, very intrigued by the Pelicans team. Now, the question is just that will they be able to win enough games to hold on to that vision? Will Joe Dumars, now that he's working as, like, I believe the president or general manager over there, will he be able to hold on to that vision of what this team could look like during time periods where I think that they will struggle because DeJounte is not back yet? But if he's willing to hold on to it just to see what it looks like, I think that there's some promise there with the Pelicans as a dark horse. I would have picked San Antonio, but they're no longer a dark horse to me because you got Wemby, you got Stephon Castle, you got what's the other kid that they just drafted this season? Harper, is it Harper Jr.?
Dylan Harper.
Harper, yeah, you got Dylan Harper Jr. So it's like they got how did I forget him? They got De'Aaron Fox.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot of just thinking about it. Damn, they got a lot of guys over there. So like I'm tripping. I forgot about that roster that quickly. But yeah, that's why I don't have them as a dark horse, because they should actually be performing well.
So my dark horse, I don't know if I can necessarily consider them a dark horse because of their recent, like, maybe not so recent success, but maybe kind of the players that they just had, but also just got shipped off.
Right.
I don't know if they're a dark horse technically, but I think the Phoenix Suns could have a pretty damn good season, and it's like
you're more high on this Phoenix team without like KD and Bradley than you were
because
I
like the pieces that they have. Like I like some of the moves that they made this offseason.
I think they're going to be a nice gritty team.
Yeah, I like who they drafted. I like the big man they got. Like I like Dylan Brooks. Like I think he's a solid player to have on a basketball team.
Okay,
I think Jalen Green alongside of Devin Booker is going to prosper. I think Devin Booker's about to play the best season of his career. Like I am really high on Phoenix just because of those simple things, and I think this year will be very, very telling on what Phoenix will be in the next years to come.
Okay, so let's just do it. Does OKC repeat?
Yes, OKC repeats.
Woo!
Yes.
Wow.
They repeat.
Yeah, I'm not on that bandwagon.
Okay.
Not on that bandwagon.
So who wins this year?
The Sacramento Kings. Just joking. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But
not as long as DeMar DeRozan's on that.
Absolutely. But who wins the NBA championship this year?
Don't say it. Don't say it.
The New York Knicks.
Oh my God. I knew you were gonna say that. And you must really believe in that, because I know how much it actually hurts you inside to say that. Yeah. So let me hear your explanation real quick before we move on.
I think Mike Brown is going to be able to unlock something different on their wing play. He's going
like Mikal Bridges
and OG Anunoby, because you know what you're going to get from Jalen Brunson. You know what you're going to get from Cat. He's going to be able to unlock a little bit of something different from Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. And if they can stay healthy, that is a good and great starting lineup, especially if you can still keep Mitchell Robinson healthy playing the 5 and let Cat go back to playing the power forward position. That is going to be a scary, scary team to go against. So it pains me to say it. It hurts my heart to say it. But I think the New York Knicks is going to win the championship this year. And that actually helps the Bulls because now it'll make it harder for the Knicks to make those decisions and make those deals about trying to trade guys off for bigger superstars.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I that story just came out maybe 2 weeks ago that New York was
pursuing
calling about Giannis.
So yes, that's where all the Giannis buzz started with New York first. So I got the New York Knicks being able to win the championship this year. Who they play against, I don't know. It could end up being OKC in the finals that they play. But
I think if they play OKC, I think New York is way better equipped to play against OKC than
anybody else.
What Indiana was.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
I think the only thing they gave Indiana that
their play style, their literal play style is what made that series. But as far as being able to match up, they had no business being in that series the way that they were.
No,
but it was OKC's first series, so that's why it was both teams' first.
Championship.
Well, that group of players outside of Siakam, it was their first time being in the finals, so that's why that series went the way it was. And arguably, if Halliburton doesn't go down in Game 7,
I think they win that game.
That's what I think too. I had Indiana in 7, but Halliburton went down, and that changed everything. But let's go ahead and get into the halftime predictions. Yes, that's what gets us hyped. All right, the halftime predictions. Let's finally get into the end of the show as we wrap it up. Let's talk about Week 7. Week 7, the slate of games that are coming in the NFL. Obviously, we just saw on Thursday how the Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals went. The Cincinnati Bengals ended up winning that game because old man Flacco is still proving that, he can be a nice old journeyman. You can damn near almost put him anywhere, and he will figure out how to squeeze out some games for you. And
how about that icy hot matchup we had?
I know that's what it was. Old man versus old man. The icy hot bowl. So we already saw that, but let's move into a London game early. Los Angeles versus Jacksonville. Who do you have for that?
Yeah, I mean, Jacksonville is essentially London's team.
Pretty much.
There was conversation that they might move, but give me the Rams. I like what the Rams are doing this year, man.
I'm going to go Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville is going to end up winning that game. I think it's going to be a close one, though. All right, we got Tennessee and New England. What do we have for that?
Oh, hold on. I want to think this graphic skips over 2 games that I'd like to get back to real quick. Actually, 1 game. I don't know why it shows like that. But anyways, Eagles, Vikings. Oh, no, they're on there. Yeah, my apologies. Yeah. Let's go back to Patriots Titans.
Yeah.
Give me the Patriots. I think Mike Vrabel in his revenge game going back to Tennessee. I think the Patriots are looking good, man. They're playing some good football.
Yeah, I got the Patriots too, only because I think Drake May is turning the corner a little bit on his sophomore season. I think he's turning the corner, so I think I'll go with the Patriots, but I don't think this is going to be a easy win for the Patriots to get. I think the Tennessee Titans are going to show up ready to kind of, prove and show, you should have stayed here with us and gutted it out. Sure. But let's continue to move on. 12 o'clock game for our beloved Chicago Bears. And as always, we want to remind all of you that are listening in the halftime community that we do still have the halftime sweepstakes, where if you have the proper prediction of the game score between the Bears and whoever they play game week in and week out, if you have the proper score at halftime, you will receive a $50 gift card. So we do want to remind everybody to shoot us your videos, tag us in it of what you think the halftime score will be between the Saints and the Bears. And if you are correct about the score, you will receive a $50 gift card from the Halftime Podcast. But for this game, obviously this is a G League opponent. I'm going to go with the Bears, obviously. I think at halftime the score will probably be 28-7, and I think we win this game 35-14.
Okay, all right. I think this Saints team is a lot tougher than people are giving them off to be. Okay. I think the Saints team is hungry for a second win. Okay. I think Spencer Rattler is going to have something to prove because we know what will ultimately happen at Oklahoma. Caleb came in and benched Spencer Rattler. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be a man on a mission. They're going to want to get their get back on Dennis Allen, right? I mean, Dennis Allen was a head coach over there and didn't really do that well. So, right. And it's a lot of the same guys. They're going to be motivated to play well. I do still have Chicago, but at halftime, I have the score being 10-7. I think the second
Bears
half is where
Saints?
Bears.
Okay.
Bears. I have the Bears exploding in the second half, ultimately winning I'm also going to go 35 points. We're going to go 35-14. Is that what you said as well?
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's what I think is going to be as well.
I just said it was going to be 28-7.5.
Got you. Okay, yeah, but I've got the Bears going berserk in that second half.
Right. Yeah. Let's keep going on. Miami and Cleveland. Who cares? But I got Cleveland.
Give me the Miami Dolphins. All right. Shout out to my one boy. He's watching this stuff. But my guy Brandon. Give me the Dolphins in Cleveland.
All right. The Jets in Carolina. I think the Jets get their first win. I've been saying that for a minute now, but I think they actually might get it this time.
Give me the Panthers, man. Bryce Young outplays Justin Fields.
Of course, you don't like Justin Fields. It's okay. It's all right. Philly versus Minnesota. I got Philly. Although I think that this game is going to be much closer than people anticipate.
Give me Carson Wentz because he is starting this game. He's going to win against his old team. I think in Minnesota, a very tough place to play.
And Philly has a hard time of being able to. I think this is the game where.
Though I will say, I don't know who the officiating crew is on this game, but. I feel like every game Philly has played, they've been very favored as far as what calls they
penalties and stuff like that. So, I will say this.
Yeah.
I'll say this. This could be the game that changes the course of the Philadelphia season, depending on how they lose. If A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are not getting anything in the passing game, and it turns out that Jalen Hurts can't get the ball down the field in the passing game, this could be the game that changes everything for their season.
Now that makes me want to change my answer because I feel like every time there's a narrative like that, Nick Sirianni just has his football team ready to play good football, and they just pull all those doubts away. So, I'm changing my pick. All right, first ever halftime change pick.
All right.
I'm using it on the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, well, I picked Philly anyway, but let's go with that. Kansas City and Vegas, obviously that's going to be a lot closer. I think that's an interdivisional matchup.
Is,
so they know each other pretty well, and they're going to play hard. But I got Kansas City there at home.
I'm getting Kansas City as well. Yeah.
All right, New York versus Denver. Bo Nix versus Jackson Dart. They're kind of similar quarterbacks in my opinion a little bit. Jackson Dart obviously a year younger. I'm gonna go with New York though. I think the New York Giants are figuring out how to work this magic between Scatterboo and Dart. They just came off of a big win, so I think they're going to carry this momentum going into Denver, and I think that they're going to win that one.
Okay. I'm going to take the Broncos, only the simple fact that I think that defense is legit, and I think it'll cause Jackson Dart, a young quarterback, some problems.
All right.
I think Cam Scatterboo will still play a good game, though.
Okay. Chargers and Colts, who you got?
They're 5-0. They're going to be 6-0.
Who's 5-0?
Colts.
They're 5-0? I thought they lost a game.
I don't think so. No, I'm pretty sure they are still undefeated. No, they did. They're 5-1. My apologies, but I got them going 6-1, staying on top of the AFC.
What's the Chargers record right now?
The Chargers are 4-2.
4-2.
So I mean, if they win this, they ultimately would take the tiebreaker.
I would say this. I'm gonna take the Chargers because they're at home.
Okay,
so I'm gonna take the Chargers because they're at home, and this is a game that they need to win. So let's go Green Bay and Arizona. I got Green Bay for that one.
Yeah, I'm taking Green Bay as well.
Yeah. Game of the week, Washington and Dallas. I got Washington, even though I think that this is going to be a close game, but Washington wants to revenge their loss from last week. I think they're going to tighten up a little bit on their penalties, tighten up a little bit on their giveaways. And this is a Dallas defense that is still ran by Eberflus and his vanilla look, and the fact that they are one of the worst passing defenses still in the NFL. This is a perfect game for Washington to come in and kind of rebound from what happened last week against Chicago.
So I want to take Washington because I feel like it's the smart pick, but I'm going to take Dallas here. I like what their offense has been able to do, and I think Eberflus has a couple of wrinkles, still able to, prevent this Washington offense from kind of exploding. I mean, we know how that game went last year when Eberflus coached that team. That team only had how many points going into that Hail Mary? What was the final score? Was it 15-12?
I don't know. It was a close game.
Yeah. So, I mean, Washington didn't do, jack all game. Yeah. So, I'm going to take Dallas for that simple fact. Maybe Dallas's defense shows up in this game.
Atlanta and San Francisco. To be honest with you, I don't know who to take in this Sunday night game,
That's
but I'm going to take Atlanta because it looks like they've been rolling a little bit. Brock Purdy is still not playing for San Francisco, and Mac Jones is still the quarterback. But I'm going to take Atlanta. I like what they've been able to do with Bijan. I feel like Michael Penix is figuring it out. So I'm going to take Atlanta while they're riding high.
I'm also taking Atlanta here. I think they've been playing some good football.
All right, now the game that I really want to see on Monday, Tampa Bay versus Detroit. I think that's going to be a very killer game. But I'm going to take Detroit. They've been taking a lot of tough losses as of late. And they need a real good bounce back game to get their season back on course, and they're back at home against Tampa Bay. So I'm gonna go Detroit in a close one.
Okay, yeah, I'm taking Tampa Bay here, man. Okay. I'm on the Baker Mayfield MVP bandwagon. Bro. Yep, let's hop on it.
All right, Houston and Seattle.
It's a late game, man.
Yeah, but it's to finish out the Monday night slate. I'm gonna take Houston for this one. I'm not a believer in the Seattle Seahawks, but I won't be surprised if they win. I think C.J. Stroud is starting to figure it out. And obviously Sam Darnold is over there still being able to showcase why exactly the Seattle Seahawks was willing to move on from Geno Smith. But I'm going to take Houston in this one. It's going to be a close game. I think they win by a late field goal.
Yeah, I'm taking Houston as well to improve their record to 3-3. I also don't think the Seattle team is that legit. I think they're a good team, solid team.
But they're missing something. They're missing a few things to make them legit.
But I'm going to take Houston in this game. I think C.J. Stroud plays a solid game.
All right, Coach. That has been our halftime prediction. Coach, what episode is this?
Episode 52.
Episode 52. And again, we want to thank you all for watching and rocking with us. Again, subscribe to our halftime YouTube channel at the Halftime Pod on YouTube. Subscribe and click that button. As well as always, following me and Coach on our Instagram accounts. You can follow me, Coach Malcolm, at Coach M_got it. And you can follow Coach Conrad at Coach KDZ. Again, we have the halftime merch out. You can find all that information in our link in the bio. So at any point in time you're looking for some merch or you want to conversate with us, feel free to reach out. Again, we also want to remind you guys that you can send any type of decorative things that you want to put on the wall behind us, and we can shout you out and showcase you and let you know and show our appreciation to you and show our community exactly your great work. So if you have anything that you want to give to us to put on the wall behind us, then that would be fire. That would be absolutely dope and something that we would greatly appreciate. Other than that, Coach, do you have anything else that you want to say before we get up out of here?
Peace, blessings, and prosperity to the halftime community.
Look at this guy.
I'm picking
look
up
at this guy here, right here, man. You're teaching well, man. Teaching well. That's now I can claim the unk status.
There
in
we
that
go.
I'm
glad we've embraced.
Yeah. All right, it's been another episode of the Halftime Podcast. This is episode 52. I'm Coach Malcolm.
I'm Coach Conrad.
And as always, you know how we leave out is C-Red and bear down, baby. Peace.